taken our cord, approximately 4 yards, and we've folded it in half, so we've got a loop right here at the midpoint, and we're going to place that loop at the midpoint of our steering wheel section that we plan on covering. We're going to pull all the rest of that through and center our knot right there where we want it. And we're going to take 1/2 of that. We're going to toss it out the window because we're not going to work on that half at this point. We're going to work on 1/2 at a time. So for that particular alternating knot, we're going to put a little loop right here. We're going to come up underneath it. Pull the working end through. Tighten it up really good. And then we're going to lay it across the other direction like this. We're going to come back underneath. Pull our working end through. Tighten it up really good and make sure that our loops around the outside are good and tight and that everything is nice and straight. And basically you're just going to keep alternating directions. Tighten it up. Pull it all back the other way. Go up underneath. Okay, so let's take a pause. Alright, so we're back. We've got most of our half a section covered here. It's a little loose. Keep in mind that we're not keeping this, but when you do it, you're going to want to make sure that everything is nice and tight. So probably require a couple more loops than what we have here. Now we're going to talk about finishing this off, and there's a couple of different things that you can do with this. If you wanted to do a single piece of 550 cord all the way around, then basically what you're going to want to do is figure out how to go from here to continue to your next section. And what I've come up with at this point is that we're going to put one more loop in here, and we're going to tighten that up real nice, and then we're going to come around our steering wheel spoke across here, throw our little half hitch in there just like that, and then continue on as before. We went the wrong direction. Let's do that. Just like this. Let's turn the steering wheel a little bit so you can see that. Just like that. And then we'll come up. Go the other way. So you see we've got the same thing going on here that we did over here, and we could just take this all the way around the steering wheel if we had enough 550 cord to cover all the sections. So if you're going to do it that way, you want to take into account how much 550 cord it's going to take to cover every section, and then how much 550 cord it's going to take to jump across each of your spokes, and then probably 2 or 3 more feet, probably about a yard, for working length and to take up your knots. Alright, so we've backed up to where we started our last segment when we talked about skipping a spoke so that we could wrap the entire steering wheel with a single strand. What we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to terminate this so that we have just a section covered. we're basically going to tighten this up really good. And then we're going to clip it off approximately 1/4 of an inch. Right there. Okay, get our 550 cord end here. And we're going to grab our lighter, which I've lost track of. Alright, we found the lighter. And we're going to warm up that end, get it nice and melty. And then while it's still melty, we're going to take the flat side of our scissors or our knife, and we're going to press down on it just like that. And that's going to flatten the end out. You want to get close to that. It's going to flatten the end out and make it broad so that it can't get pulled back through the loop. Now, if you're worried about the aesthetic look of that, you can try doing that on the other side of the row. For the purposes of this video, I've done it on the outside of the row so that you can see it. And that concludes our instructional video on how to wrap 550 cord around the steering wheel using alternating knots.